Hey everyone, welcome again to another 360 Timmy. So today we're in Wimbledon, South London, and today my special guest is Conor Warren.
Hiya.
Hi Conor.
How are you doing?
Not too bad at all.
Good.
Conor is a mental health advocate, a public speaker, and founder and CEO of Spark UK. So we'll talk about that. It's a charity for mental health for young people.
Yeah.
And I should say that we're in Wimbledon, but neither of us come from Wimbledon.
No.
So you're actually from Devon, aren't you?
Yes, I sure am.
So tell us about what you're here for today.
Yes, I've been here. I've just been doing some filming with the BBC for some primary school assemblies on mental health and been up for a conference this weekend. So yeah, just up for a little trip up here.
So the journey starts, I guess, with your own mental health issues. That's what led to you forming Spark?
100%, yeah. So when I was younger, I had really bad anxiety, and I thought that it was, just something that was everybody dealt with.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's sort of wasn't the case. And yeah, I was really struggling at school, and I just wanted that sort of support. And in 2017, my parents split up and we moved down to North Devon, and I went to a brand new school that I'd never been to before, didn't have any friends, and I came across this club called Mental Health Ambassadors, which was a 10-week training program on mental health. And I basically learned so much about mental health, learned about what it is, kind of how to support other young people, and yeah, it really grew from there, really.
That's quite an innovative thing to have at school, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. So it's sort of a pilot program funded by one of the local charities. And yeah, it was a 10-week training program teaching you on mental health. And then unfortunately, as a lot of projects, funding got cut and that project fizzled out. But as a school, we decided to actually set up as mental health ambassadors. So it's basically like a school council, but for mental health.
Yeah.
And we sort of started doing assemblies, lessons, tutor programs, all on mental health within our school. And yeah, it was a really great way to sort of empower the students to actually talk about it and get other young people talking about it.
And I guess that's what led you then to think about doing that for other schools.
Yes.
Spark.
Yeah. So
where did the name come from, I guess, to begin with?
I don't actually know where the name came from. So I woke up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I was having this idea of this organisation and this project I wanted to run. And yeah, I woke up one morning and it was probably 2-3 a.m. and I just had this spark in my head to call it Spark. And I remember writing it in massive letters on my whiteboard, going back to sleep, and that name stuck. And here we are 4 years later with that name still.
So what was that was the name? Where did the essence of, I actually think, I want to do this elsewhere across the country?
Yeah, so unfortunately, like a lot of school projects, COVID hit, and it was really difficult to get teenagers together in a school to do a club because we're all in different year groups. And it's just really difficult to get the students together. So me and a group of friends that I met through Mental Health Ambassadors, we went on a rant. We always joke, we started on a rant sort of about mental health system, what would it be like in an ideal world? And then we said, why we said an ideal world? Why don't we just try doing this ourselves? Expected nothing of it. Our first big project was our advent calendar. So I'd had this idea of creating a digital advent calendar. This was still while I was a mental health ambassador at school. And I did it just in our school for the first year. And every day in December we had funny cat videos, basically, to start each day on a positive.
Yeah.
So really funny, like memes and just funny things that sort of tried to show that, but it's been proven that starting your day on a positive has a positive impact on the rest of your day. So we thought, let's do this. We started off doing that just in our school as a bit of a positivity thing. And then I remember after that happening, we had lots of positive feedback from teachers and students. And we said, why don't we actually try doing something with this? So that's when the idea of getting celebrities involved happened. And that project is what started Spark, is what it is now, by creating that and sort of making that a standalone away from school and into something actually for young people and for sort of celebrities and a standalone project.
And who were the early celebrities that got on board with that, and how did you go about getting that kind of support them?
So the first year was very much looking at Instagram, looking at who my friends were following, then trying to find email addresses for those celebrities. So I remember the first big moment was Bradley Walsh.
Yeah.
First year, we had Bradley Walsh sending us a video, giving a tip on mental health. We did that just by sending him an email. And within the first year, I think we also had Emma Thompson, we had Stephen Fry, we had loads of YouTubers that I grew up watching. I had like CBeebies presenters I grew up watching.
That's amazing.
And it was literally just sending messages on Instagram, emailing agents, and just seeing what happened and just asking. Because I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is just ask, and you never know what your answer will be.
And I know you've done a talk on that about
Yes.
the being persistent on email is
Yes.
the key to all of this.
100%.
Do you think that's a rather old-fashioned thing now, email, don't you? It's all messaging on Instagram
Yeah, I think
that kind of thing. But
I think young people are afraid of emails sometimes. I don't think any of my friends have probably ever sent an email in their life. But for me, you've got this free tool to speak to anybody in the world if you can find their email address. So why not try it? Because Instagram can become quite diluted sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, these influencers probably get thousands of requests a day. And whereas emails, people don't think to email, especially, you know, young people, they don't think to email these people. So yeah, that's sort of how we went about it. Sort of speaking to agents, using LinkedIn to find agents and to find sort of assistants, and going about it like that.
And so that obviously did that quite a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
are they good at coming back the following year when you do the advent calendar again?
Yeah, so we've the best example of that is Stephen Fry. We've
Yeah.
had him 4 years in a row.
Wow.
This
really
year
generous.
we literally sent the email to him, and within 24 hours we had the video from him back.
Yeah.
And he knew what to do, he knew exactly all of that, and yeah, we really get that sort of consistent feed of celebrities every year. But then we also try and mix it up every year so it's not the same. So other than a few people, so we've sort of got, this year we've got YouTuber Max Fosh. He's back, he did it initially in our first year, and he's back again this year. So we tried to sort of throw it back a bit to some celebrities that did it a few years ago. But yeah, we've got a really good reputation now, and we've got a lot of people that sort of come back year back with sort of agents talk to us year on year and try to get different clients on board. So yeah, we really sort of grow like that now.
That's brilliant. And so in terms of Spark and the resources available,
Yes.
I've seen your website, the 8 self-care acts.
Yes.
I quite like that.
Yes.
That's so it is for young people to be able to go to that website.
Absolutely.
But it's all about education in schools and
Yeah, so we currently create educational resources for 300 schools around the UK.
yeah.
So we basically, a lot of the ideas are we sit as a group, we come up with what we felt like we weren't taught in school that was really important around mental health, around well-being. And then we sit and we write a lesson on that. We do research, we read books, and we do a lesson, and then we create that lesson completely by ourselves. And then we work with professionals to sort of get that vetted and get that actually checked that is right. And yeah, we sort of, we've got lessons on gratitude, anxiety. We've got, as you said, we've got our self-care acts, which are 8 things that we think young people could, well, people of all ages can do.
Yeah,
to
no,
support
I
themselves.
looked at them. They are basic things, aren't they?
Yeah, very.
You know, like
yeah.
eating your favourite food and
Exactly. And I think that
doing something you enjoy.
That
and-
came about, we saw these, back in the day, there was 10 a day,
yeah.
which were 10 things you can do to support your mental well-being. And I remember as a young person looking at them, I think one of them that always sticks out is do something you enjoy and are good at.
Yeah.
For me, it always stuck with me. Why should you be good at it to enjoy it? And for me, I'm like, my example is always, I love singing. Cannot sing for the life of me. The only time I sing is in the shower.
Yeah.
However, that's still good for my mental health.
Yeah.
So why should you be good at it? So we really sort of adapted these and worked with other young people to understand what they do and what we do. And then we sort of create resources, and we're currently running programs in local communities to teach young people about these self-care acts and sort of help implement them into their life. So yeah.
That is amazing. And so what makes up Spark? How many other people are, presumably people of your same age?
Yeah, so we've currently got a team of 3.
Yeah.
So it's myself, it's Bridie, who's a clinical psychology student at Exeter, and we've got Kyra as well, who does a lot of design for us. And then we've also got our trustees who are all across the UK, and they all come from different industries and different opportunities and etc. So yeah, we've sort of got a really good team, and we're currently growing a lot as well.
All around the UK, not
Yeah,
just
all
just-
around the UK. because all the work we do is completely national.
Yeah.
So all our team are growing from all across the UK, and all of our core team are aged between 17 and 25 as well. So we are all still young people. We still know what the education system's like. We still know what it's like to be a young person going through COVID and through the pressures of modern society.
That's still a legacy, isn't it, COVID?
It is.
That really is, especially for young people, as you say.
100%.
You can see it now, actually, as the years advance.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so important about what we do, is because we are not trying to relate to young people, because we are young people.
Yeah.
So a lot of charities, a lot of organisations struggle because they don't know what it's like to be a young person going through COVID, after social media, all of these things, because that wasn't about. So for us, we do know. We know what it's like. So everything we do, we make sure that we want that.
Yeah.
We make sure that would appeal to us, rather than kind of, it'll be fine as such. So yeah.
Do you have any support from government, other charities, initiatives, education sector?
Yes, we do loads of work with lots of different mental health charities. I'm very much a firm believer of we're all working for the same aim, so why don't we work together? And because, charities, organisations, governments, money's always a big issue, time's always a big issue. So if we're all sort of trying to tackle the same thing, why don't we work together rather than wasting resource? So we're really lucky to be BAFTA partners, so we work with BAFTA.
Amazing.
We work with a lot of charities like Beyond and Place to Be. We work with sort of government, we work with NHS, we work with universities. So a lot of the big work we do is around university research.
Yeah.
So being sort of youth advisors to research projects around mental health, so that they're getting young people's input into these research. So yeah, we really sort of do a lot of different aspects and work with as many people as possible.
That's incredible. But we were talking earlier, it is a struggle though. I mean,
100%.
We were talking about, you have to go and work in the background when you travel for these events.
Definitely.
Sometimes that's funded, sometimes that's not.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the fact that North Devon to London's a long way.
It sure is,
and,
it sure is.
Lots of practicalities with that.
Yes.
So that must be, how do you make that work?
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act. I think I've always learned, when I started Spark I was 14.
Yeah.
I was still in secondary school. I've done my GCSEs, I've done my A-levels while doing Spark. So I've always had to learn how to balance it, how to do it in my spare time as such, although my spare time ended up being solely doing Spark stuff and solely going and travelling and doing stuff. So I think for me it's about sort of making sure that I am being able to get the money in as the main priority, and then doing Spark and doing all the other stuff. And I've definitely learned how to say no.
Yeah.
I think that's one big thing that was really struggled to start with, was actually saying no to opportunities and knowing when to take a break.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's so important, is actually making sure that you do take a break and practice what you preach.
Yes.
And that's a big
Absolutely,
thing. When a few years ago, even up to last year, I was really struggling myself, because I was putting everything into Spark. All my time was focused on school and Spark. Actually, I wasn't looking after my own mental health.
Yeah.
So now I'm very much, I know when to turn the laptop off and stop working. I know when I need to take a break for a bit. I know all these different aspects, and that's definitely something that you have to learn naturally and you don't automatically get. So yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience to balance it and to make sure that I am doing stuff for myself as well as for Spark and for all the other aspects I'm involved in.
Yeah, we talked earlier, didn't we, about, like I said, when I'm bored, the old dark clouds gather.
100%.
So I like to be always doing something, but there is a balance, as you said, about not doing it. And sometimes I think you were saying that some of the talks you do, so you're doing quite a bit of public speaking.
Yeah.
So you've travelled a fair, Malta, I believe.
Yeah, I've been in Malta and
Austria.
Yeah.
So that's and they're great opportunities, aren't they?
100%. Yeah, but there's definitely there's also been opportunities I have had to turn down. So I had to turn down a trip to Gibraltar, which I was gutted about, because that was my first ever abroad trip that I was invited to. Yeah. I said, no, I need to prioritise school. As bad as that is, I had to prioritise school, and yeah, it's definitely
Because you were saying these things tend to come at once, and you have to make a choice.
Yeah, 100%. They do come at once, and it is definitely trying to learn how to deal with that. I'm in a very unique position there's not many other 18-year-olds who are CEO of a national organisation. So yeah, it's definitely been a unique position. I've had to learn and sort of learn for myself what that means and how to actually live my life like that.
And all your public speaking is on youth mental health?
It's on a broad range of things. So yeah, youth mental health. I also do work on sort of youth voice and youth empowerment, as well as sort of encouraging young people to set up their own organisations. So I do a lot of work with Young Enterprise. So while I was at school, I was managing director of a Young Enterprise company. And I do a lot of work with them now. I judged their Southwest finals last year, and I'm doing some masterclasses for their students this year. So I really try to sort of give back as much of that and encourage young people to actually, if they have an idea, go do it, go try it and go and sort of execute that. And yeah, I try to sort of do as much of that as possible as well. So yeah, a broad range of talks.
Yeah, that's amazing. And are you doing any social media video or anything like that?
Yes.
Influencing? And...
I'm slowly starting. I think at the minute, mainly on LinkedIn. I very much try to use LinkedIn as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I'm branching out to TikTok and Instagram now and trying to sort of post content on there.
Yeah.
And try and educate young people in just what they can do, what their first steps are, and show that it's okay to just, not everything's perfect. So when you look at social media a lot of the time, you see these influencers and they all live these perfect lives.
Yeah.
But in reality,
it's an illusion,
they don't talk about the transport, how long that took, or stuck in snow, or all these different things. So actually, I try to be as real as possible on social media and try and show to young people that actually, yes, you might be at an event at BAFTA next week, but the before and after of that is, yes, it's a beautiful picture that happened in an hour, but it's a 3 a.m. journey and
or sleeping on the platform at Paddington.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to say on social media at the minute, is that kind of, yes, everybody's life is not perfect.
Yeah.
So if you're a young person, you will have great moments in your life, but you also have a lot of bad ones as well.
I mean, an interesting question for you, as someone who comes from the 20th century and someone that comes from the 21st century, what are the mental health challenges for young people now? Is social media a big, because at the moment, Australia have been talking about a ban on social media, which is quite in the news this week that's just gone. Is there a link there, do you think, or what are the other areas that...
I think that social media is definitely a massive impact on mental health. But actually, I think a lot of people, especially adults, are quick to blame social media.
Yeah.
In reality, it is not all negative. It's not all bad. I think that's the thing that a lot of people tend to forget, is actually social media has so many positive outlets. And I think there is a lot of factors that impact youth mental health. I think, obviously, like we said a minute ago, COVID, social media, even things like reality TV now.
Yeah.
So obviously, with the return of Big Brother last year, and with Love Island and all these shows, it's kind of creating this image that young people are aspiring to be. We are very much, I always say, we're in this Love Island influencer era.
Yeah.
Where young girls, young boys are looking up to these Love Islanders, and in reality, you're only seeing a snippet of their life.
Yeah. And there's been some quite high level, suicides and
100%.
As a result of those shows as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, you don't realise that. So that's got a massive impact. And equally, just the pressures of being a young person now. I was at a conference on Friday and they were talking about, actually for young people, money is such a big issue, because I can't remember what the statistic was exactly, but young people feel like their parents were a lot better off than them at their age.
Yeah.
So, house prices are going up and up right now. First time buyer age is going up and up.
Yeah.
So these pressures of young people actually, like we were talking about earlier with cars and stuff, there's so many pressures and society is so difficult that actually, the list, I could go on and on about the list of things that impact on mental health.
No, you're right. I mean, because I remember doing a test around 17.
Yeah.
And I was in a car by the end of the year, but now that's highly unlikely because insurance is so high.
Yeah, insurance, you're looking at over a grand. And
the test cost, you were telling me earlier, crikey.
Yeah.
That's...
And like things like theory tests as well.
Yeah.
So they run out after 2 years, so you have to redo that. And they cost about £30. You got your
and having a car is your first bit of independence, isn't it, as a young person? So 100%. That's why I'm focusing on that. Yeah. From my kind of equal point of view at the same sort of time, I can see that. Yeah. And as you say, house prices, when you've left uni, you want to get on the housing now, you got your first job. Yeah. It's not easy at all.
No, not at all.
I should also mention it's quite windy today.
It's very
Storm
windy.
Bert, isn't it? Is it Storm Bert?
Storm Bert. Storm Bert is really bringing the wind.
So, segue into storms.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier funding's getting more and more challenging. Has that been the case more this year after
100%.
all the turmoil of general elections and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, I think there's definitely been a massive difference in funding in the past few years. This year especially, with the new budgets and with the new everything else, it is becoming a lot more expensive to become a charity. I know one charity, they are looking at having to raise over an additional £200,000 just to keep the employees they currently have.
Yeah.
With their salary increases and with the insurance increases and with all that stuff. And take some of the funders, for example, it's becoming a lot more competitive after COVID.
Yeah.
So one major funder, I think their approval rate has gone from 8 in 10 to 3 in 10. And they're one of the core funders in the UK. So it is definitely becoming a lot more challenging. And obviously the costs of overheads and the costs of everything is so high, yet the opportunities to get those overheads funded are so low.
Yeah.
So it really becomes a challenge. And we're seeing this year, we've seen right at the start of this year, the closure of the British Youth Council after many, many years. Last week we saw the closure by the government of NCS. They've defunded that programme. So unfortunately we're seeing all around us all these charities and all these massive legacy charities really struggling and really fighting to keep their doors open. And unfortunately some are closing their doors. And having the closure of those two major youth charities, NCS have supported so many young people, served the British Youth Council, and seeing the closure of them, it means that actually it's quite scary to see, because these opportunities for young people are becoming slimmer because those charities aren't able to keep the doors open and fighting for funding.
Yeah.
So it does definitely become a huge challenge that impacts everyone, whether it is a youth charity or it's all these different other charities. It can become really challenging.
So as we switch into 2025, you're 19 in December.
Yeah.
So you've left school and college and everything now, so you are doing Spark full time
100%.
and working as well.
Yeah, I'm working.
So what are your plans going into next year to kind of try and turn that funding thing around?
So we've really sort of, like many charities, like many businesses, we are diversifying our funding. So we're really sort of, in January, we're taking a bit of a step back for a bit, and we're going to sort of reevaluate a lot of stuff we're doing. And we're going to be looking at a more sort of commercialised model, where we are commissioned by local councils, local charities to deliver the work in their local communities.
Yeah.
As well as looking at more philanthropic funds, more donations, more kind of things like that will actually increase that fund. So it's really about diversifying, as opposed to relying solely on grants and solely on X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
It's about relying on a much bigger range of things. So that's kind of where we're trying to sort of look in 2025 to diversify a lot more.
And of course, you, Conor,
yes.
you need to develop your career
100%,
as well, don't you, as you go into the new year? So that's a key goal as well, alongside what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I've very much been learning at a pace that kind of, I am growing up in this. As I said, I started this when I was 14. I got thrown into this world from nothing to everything pretty much overnight. So I'm definitely continually learning, continually learning what I want to do in my life, and kind of finding those opportunities and taking those opportunities when they arise. And just kind of see what happens. I'm very much a person that right now I'm in a stage of my life that I could get an opportunity tomorrow and that changes everything, the course of everything, and I'm quite open with that, and I love that opportunity, because I'm not necessarily tied down to university or to like a big job where I have to stay in a certain area. I'm quite in an open place now where actually I can go chase opportunities if they come my way and if that's what I'm interested in. So it's a really exciting time, but a time of sort of reflection and to grow and kind of work out what I really like.
I mean, you're incredibly inspiring to be dedicated to this from 14.
Yes.
And now it's your career. I mean, and I know you enjoy it, but yeah, it really is incredibly inspiring. I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm sure we'll catch up again
100%.
and find out what happened after this.
What happened after.
Yeah, but for today, thank you very much from a windy Wimbledon.
Yes,
and
windy Wimbledon.
A safe journey home to North Devon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very
You
much.
have a good day.